saxophones a quiver. Fill it up with books and shoes. Do you ever even wear those? Did we pay the moving dues? Must be something we're forgetting. Check the weather for the day. Say a prayer for all the sweet things lost along the way. I can hear the leaves of our say.
Excuse me. Sorry. Today is May 11th, 2026, and I am in Lake Lure, North Carolina, walking along Memorial Highway, which is Highway 9 or Highway 64 or Highway 74, all depending on how you see it. And very recently there was a 60 Minutes broadcast that was aired that talks about Hurricane Helene and the recovery efforts, but it really focused on some of the bad actors that showed up in the wake of the storm. So that bothered a lot of legitimate volunteers and locals who felt like it took away from the very real efforts of people with good intentions and all of the good work that they did to help make places like this livable again. So what I want to do today is show people the better side. And yes, it is true that there were bad actors who came into especially Lake Lure and Chimney Rock and these surrounding areas after the storm, as well as Spruce Pine, Black Mountain, and some of the other parts of the region that were hit, because the devastation was incredibly widespread. And the news, mainstream media especially, they never really came into the area after Helene hit. They never really came and looked at any of it for themselves or spoke to the locals directly. Instead, they relied on what they were hearing from outside sources. And so the reporting on the storm from September 27th all the way to today was never truly accurate and never truly fair to the people who lived here and were most badly affected by what happened. This is the lake itself, Lake Lure. I live in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and before the storm, this was absolutely one of my favorite places in the world to come and visit, to take photos especially, because it is just so beautiful here, and to have some time to work on projects or just kind of be by myself without having the distraction of cell phone and constant messages and being constantly online, since this area really does not have a whole lot of cell signal. Of course, most of the businesses do have Wi-Fi, so if you need to be in touch with people, that's absolutely a possibility. But if you don't want to be in touch with people, that's also a possibility, and that's something that I personally enjoy, although there are a lot of people to this day who experienced going days or even weeks without being able to contact their loved ones and let them know that they were okay. And unfortunately, like I said, there were bad actors who came in and spread falsehoods in that time. So this is the marina. Closed up right now, of course, but this is a place where people come in and hang out by the beach. You've got what we call the balds in the distance. The balds are parts of the southern Appalachians where trees do not grow. And it's not because of the elevation, as you can see, because there are trees growing above them. So nobody is really quite 100% sure why vegetation does not grow in certain parts of the mountains. The Cherokee used to believe that those were sacred areas, and they actually used to hold rituals in those parts of the mountains. I don't know specifically about rumbling bald, which is what I'm looking at right now, but that is what the legend says, is that they used to hold rituals in those areas. Over here, the Lake Lure Inn and Spa was made famous by several movies that were shot there, especially movies Dirty Dancing and I want to say Footloose. Was that it? And I mean, you can rent a room now, probably today, and you can visit and you can stay here. It's a beautiful old inn. I have not been inside of it, but if you want a tourist experience that is removed from the crowds and the cost that comes, with those crowded areas as well, and all the stress, Lake Lure would be a really good option. It's the Iron Gate Spa that I'm looking at right here, across the way. You can hardly see it, but there's an ice cream shop over there as well, and I don't think that the ice cream shop is open, but I did recently see somebody heading up there as if they were starting to do some work on that building, so it's possible they could open up that shop again. The lake has been filled all the way to full level, and there was actually somebody a few days ago, there was a woman, I think her name was Patricia Temple, who swam the entire perimeter of Lake Lure, which took her about 12 hours, in order to raise awareness and to say that the lake is open again and it's safe. Come on and visit. So that's pretty awesome. I can't imagine the athletic strength that it takes, the endurance to swim the entire lake for 12 hours. But she did it. Even from here, I can hear the live music that's going on over there at the shop across from the Lured Market. I'm not really quite sure what that shop is called. I'm sorry. It used to be something else. So there's the ice cream shop right there that I was talking about. And there's buzzards that live here in Lake Lure. There's a whole flock of them, and they are over my head right now, along with a plane. I've actually seen them take over this marina before. The last time that I was here in summer 2024, before Helene hit, the whole marina was taken over by these buzzards, and I got a few photos thinking it looked kind of eerie. I don't know if that was a forebearing of what was to come or not. But there were a lot of rumors that people died here in Lake Lure and Chimney Rock, and I remember hearing some rumor that there were hundreds of people still missing in this area. Well, that wasn't true. There were hardly hundreds of people who even lived here in the first place. That just didn't make any sense at all. This boardwalk here used to be walkable. It isn't anymore, obviously, but they'll get it rebuilt again eventually. There's somebody out there on a boat. Don't know if you can see them from here. I used to walk this boardwalk, actually. So we're going to go up to the road instead, and we're going to walk along the road. No, so this is the Broad River, or the locals will call it the Rocky Broad River, that flows all the way down to Hickory Nut Gorge, down into Bat Cave, and then Chimney Rock, and then Lake Lure. And there is a dam that creates the lake, because this is not actually a naturally formed lake. There's an entrepreneur who came out here over 100 years ago, and he decided that this was a perfect area to build a tourist community, and that's what he did. He dammed up the river, created a lake, built the Lake Lure Inn that we just passed, And this has been a tourist community ever since. So there were probably people, victims who were caught up in the flooding, who got swept down into this area, but it wasn't the locals here in Lake Lure and Chimney Rock specifically. And the reason that so many people survived out here is because in the overnight hours before the hurricane actually hit, when the flooding was already ongoing, the fire departments, plural, in these areas, they came door to door and they warned people, you need to come with us right now. In some cases, I think they actually came in boats. They said, you need to come with us right now for your safety. And that's why the people of Lake Lure and Chimney Rock survived the flooding. Unfortunately, there were a few in Bat Cave who did not survive, but I can say that the fire department in Bat Cave, they're all absolutely heroes, especially the fire chief himself, who was out there risking his own life to save others while his own home was being destroyed. And he didn't even tell people for quite a while that his home had been destroyed. There were firefighters who were living and sleeping in tents in various parts of Appalachia after the storm. Now, the wildlife was obviously very badly affected as well by what happened. But in the days following Helene, they slowly drained the lake. They released the floodwaters from the dam. I actually drove over the Broad River at the bridge on Highway 221 heading up to Rutherford County while they were releasing the dam. That water was awful. It was beyond disgusting. I will never forget the smell. But they brought the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers here into Lake Lure as soon as road crews were able to first clear all of the fallen trees and all of the power lines and poles as well, all of the debris that was in the roads. And they were able to rebuild enough of the roads in order to make at least one lane passable so that they could get vehicles through. You can actually see right here where part of this road probably crumbled off into the lake. And so there was a lot that had to be rebuilt just to make things passable. So for a good while, they had it not open to the public. You really couldn't get in and out. And there were a lot of conspiracy theories that followed, but it wasn't actually a matter of keeping people out because of some great secret, but rather because it was not safe to enter certain areas. And I can tell you from experience, people were driving like maniacs, especially those who were coming from out of town. And unfortunately, Lake Lure and Chimney Rock, they also dealt with a lot of people who were coming in only to film videos for TikTok especially, and other social media sites, in order to spread false rumors, in order to say the most sensational things that they could say in order to get a whole lot of attention. And those social media platforms, they never did anything about the disinformation that was being spread. And that's a damn shame. Even Facebook, who runs a data center here in Rutherford County, and at one point it was rumored that they were allowing TikTok to run on their servers as well. I don't know if that's true or not. But they actually had people here in the affected areas, and yet they allowed the disinformation to spread and continue. And that caused a lot more grief and a lot more problems for the people who actually lived here and were affected by what happened. What you're looking at right now, this parking lot, this is the parking lot of the Lake Lure Visitor Center. And it's actually, believe it or not, looking a lot better, a lot better than it was a year ago. This also used to be Morse Park. Well, it still is Morse Park. And everywhere where you see sand and brown right now, it all used to be one flat, grassy, green lawn. And it had walk paths, and it had trees and flowers and a gazebo. It was a nice walk, really. And it will be again when they finish rebuilding. But what you can't really see is the Broad River. But it's right there. And when it flooded this entire area. It was extreme. The amount of rainfall that they took before and during Helene was extreme. So it has been a slow rebuilding process, but they have never stopped since day one. They have been constantly working to rebuild their community. The people who love here truly love this place. And they're not going to sit around on their thumbs and shrug their shoulders. They're going to do whatever they can in order to rebuild. We're not going to go any closer and check it out. I just passed by that sign that says authorized personnel only. We're not going to go into that area. Lake reopening ceremony, May 15th at 11 a.m. So they're going to have an official grand reopening on May 15th, which is 4 days from today when I'm recording this. And this is a really big deal because Lake Lure is a tourist community and a retirement community. That's their entire economy. So when Helene hit, that was September 27th, 2024. That happened right at the beginning of peak tourist season for Western North Carolina, because their peak tourist season is during fall when the trees all change color. And so it wiped out their entire peak economic season. And then, of course, all of the money that is spent rebuilding. In some cases, insurance came through. In a lot of cases, it simply did not. In some cases, FEMA came through. In some cases, they did not. I can't really get into the specifics of that. There are a lot of individuals and a lot of businesses who can each tell their own story. I'm not going to get into that. But this business here is called Faye Nectar. They're a fantasy-themed bar, and they have food as well. The Reuben sandwich is really good. I actually many times have sat out here on the porch drinking a Coca-Cola and staring out at the Broad River. They almost hired me back in June 2024 as a brunch server. And then they had been visited by the Department of Health that day. We told them that they were not able to serve eggs the way that they were serving them. So, unfortunately, I was not able to work here, but that was just several months before Helene hit. You see that tower, by the way? That's new. And one of my favorite places to come, especially to take photos, was the Flowering Bridge. And I'm about to show y'all what is left of the Flowering Bridge. It was an old stone pedestrian bridge. It was over 100 years old. So they still got some flowers left, what they call survivor flowers. They've got rare flowers, they've got native plants, probably non-native plants as well. It's still beautiful. Weeping bald cypress. As you can see, the bridge went over the Broad River right next to the road bridge that is here. And when Helene hit and the flooding happened, it washed a huge amount of house debris, trees, cars, even giant boulders, which we're going to see in Chimney Rock, all the way down this river. And down in upstate South Carolina, where I was, we were told the last notification that we got was that they expected a catastrophic failure of the Lake Lure Dam, which was going to wash an incredible amount of water down into communities. And that would have killed a lot of people. A lot more people, I should say. It would have wiped out a lot more infrastructure. It would have made the rebuilding process 3 times as difficult. But that did not happen. It's kind of a miracle. And I personally believe that this bridge, the Flowering Bridge, took and trapped so much of that debris that would have otherwise washed down this river, down through the lake, and struck the dam. And I think that it is because of the Flowering Bridge that the dam did not break. So what I'm saying is the Flowering Bridge saved a lot of lives and was destroyed in the process. But as you can see, things are regrowing. There are a lot of volunteers, locals, who have been maintaining this area for a long time and continue to do so. Again, I can't stress this enough. The people who live here truly love this place. And it's still beautiful. It's still worth visiting. I want y'all to know that. The Forget-Me-Not Garden. So, I know that they're going to rebuild it. It might even be more beautiful than ever once they do. Hello, camera! Don't get up to shenanigans around here. They are watching. They are accepting donations as well. So, keep that in mind. I don't know if they're going to rebuild an entire bridge across the river again, but I personally hope they do, but that's not really up to me, is it? I can hear the cars behind me slowing down as I walk here along the road, so I appreciate that. Thank y'all for being safe. I'm walking because I'm going to walk here across the Broad River, and then we'll be in Chimney Rock. And I can show what Chimney Rock is looking like today. Thank you, everybody, for being safe. Appreciate that. This is still the same road bridge, I believe, that was... I think it survived the flood. And like I said, the Army Corps of Engineers was down here for a long time. They actually mapped the entire bottom of Lake Lure before they drained it all to its lowest level it had ever been at. So I'm confident in the bridges as well. Now, there were rumors that also spread that there once was a town that is now the lake, a town called Buffalo, that they flooded and basically destroyed. Now, that did happen in other parts of the Western Carolinas, especially down in South Carolina, and they did flood, especially Cherokee, Native American communities, burial grounds, which is an unfortunate part of our history. But that never actually happened in Lake Lure. That's just another false rumor. There may have been several homes down there at one point over 100 years ago, but there was not an entire town. I'm not gonna walk the entire garden path this time around. I'm gonna continue on to Chimney Rock. But you can see they are working really hard right now to rebuild this area. So it really is worth a visit. They got an education center over there. If you want to donate to this effort, then they're absolutely accepting donations and assistance right now. So now we are actually in Chimney Rock. In Chimney Rock, the entire community more or less exists right here along the Broad River. And right here along this one main road, which is Memorial Highway. So, when the flooding happened, every single building, every business and home here in Chimney Rock was damaged, if not outright destroyed. But as you can see, there is still a town standing. There are businesses that are open today. See that little open sign right there? Well, it may not come across right on the screen. This is the 828. I guess this is technically Lake Lure. We're not quite in Chimney Rock yet, technically. There goes UPS. The work remains ongoing to this day. And a lot of people who are not from the area have asked, how can the work still be going on to this day? What was happening over a year ago? Why was this not being completed then? It was. It's just that the damage was so massive. It takes a long time to recover from that. You know how they say Rome was not built in a day. And of course, the level of damage varies from business to business, from building to building. And again, they had to actually clear and repair the roads before they could even get vehicles in. This one says Smoky Mountain Cowboy. You can look at all the wood carvings that are right there. This part of Appalachia in particular is really well known for its wood carvings, as well as its black bears. So, you can see here right below me where it looks like they have seeded the ground in order to make grass grow again. We've got flowers that are blooming right now. So, bringing back the ecosystem has been, in some ways, just as important as bringing back the homes and the businesses. They need a greenery growing where it was wiped out before in order to hold the land in place, in order to prevent more landslides from happening whenever it rains heavy. And the southern Appalachians are known for heavy rainfall. Some of the areas out here have some of the highest rainfall totals in the country because of the topography and because of the way that air currents run across North America. There's a banner over there I want to highlight, by the way. It says WNC thanks Precision Grading. Precision Grading is really run by one man named Jake Jarvis. And Jake is from Polk County, from an area that was hit hard by Hurricane Helene. And he has been working without any pay, running just on donations, with his excavator and his team and his daughter in order to help rebuild Western North Carolina, in order to help clear private roads and driveways, in order to help clear destroyed homes, and assist in any way that he could with the rebuilding process. I've heard a lot of folks here in Chimney Rock say that they should make him the mayor. So, that is an absolute hero. There are heroes in the story. And in that 60 Minutes broadcast, they didn't really focus on the heroes, they focused more on the villains. So I want to highlight that there are people who worked unceasing, without pay, in order to help those who were in desperate need and really did not have the resources to pay them. And those people also typically did not get featured very much on the media because they didn't have the time to go and put themselves in front of a TV screen. Especially when you are working in areas that don't even have a good cell signal, data signal, anything like that. All that video streaming that you saw, especially in the early weeks after Helene, that had to come from people who had a data signal at some point, and you didn't have a data signal in the worst affected areas. So that's just something to consider. And the people who were able to stream videos and comment on them, especially TikTok, which is only a video streaming platform, those were not the same people who were living in areas and barely able to get out a message to let their loved ones know if they were okay or not. Something else to consider. TikTok, another video streaming, is really, really not a good platform for understanding what happens after a disaster. In the way that videos work, as opposed to reading text, when you read a paragraph, you have time to think about what you're reading. Read it again, read it 5-10 times. In order to think about what you're reading, comprehend it, decide if you believe it or not. Compare it to other pre-existing knowledge that you already have. Consider the logic of what you're reading before you can continue on to the next section. Videos don't allow you to do that. Videos just keep hitting you with information rapid fire, and it's really all you can do to just record that information in your brain. You don't have the opportunity to sit there and think about what's being said. So for anybody who watches my video, please feel free to pause it, rewind it, think about it. Think about what I'm saying. Challenge me on it. I'm not even from here. I'm from Spartanburg, South Carolina. The best thing that you can do is listen to the locals. The people who were here all along, before, during, and after the storm. Listen to the volunteers who were truly on the ground. Here in the Hickory Nut Gorge, things got so dramatic that they had to limit the volunteers that were coming in, and they had to coordinate and organize those efforts a lot more closely. So there was a group called Spokes of Hope that became the main volunteer rebuilding organization, especially here in Chimney Rock. Spokes of Hope. So if you were volunteering in this area, they wanted you to go through them. Of course, then there's also precision grading. A little bit further north, where I will not be able to walk to, there was also Bat Cave Relief. So there were a few different organizations that came in that did a lot of good. I'm going to go ahead and cross the road, actually. Right here. This is the Hickory Nut. This is a plant store. And oh my goodness, it's beautiful and it smells amazing just to walk past. I cannot convey that in a video. Cluck off. I wish I could get that from my mom. So, a person could come out here today, which is obviously, open to the public now, and they could take photos that just show you this rebuilding. It could just show you the destruction, and they could send you a message based on that alone. Somebody could do that. I could do that right now. Wouldn't be hard. But there is rebuilding that's taking place, and then there are also businesses that are back open. There's live music, like what we started the video with. There's a lot that's happening right here. You can see why they call it the Rocky Broad, by the way. There were not quite as many rocks before the flood. The force of the water was so intense that it, in a lot of places, it actually scrubbed the ground to the bedrock. Upstream in Bat Cave, the reason it's called Bat Cave, there is an actual bat cave, and it is the largest granite fissure cave in North America. The cave itself is closed off. It is home to an endangered species of bats that they do not want the public messing with. But granite is an extremely hard material. It's harder than most of the building materials that we build our homes with. So when the force of the water and the debris coming down was so great that it was able to break up the granite and send boulders down here into Chimney Rock. You can imagine what that did to the homes and what that did to the ground itself. The Broad River no longer runs the way that it used to. The topography in western North Carolina is different now. Even downstream in upstate North Carolina or central North Carolina, it had underground impacts that we can't fully understand. Who's that helicopter above me? I don't know. I do not know. And I'm running out of battery life, so I'm gonna have to end this video pretty soon and go back to my car. This was a Carter Lodge. I shouldn't say was, it still is. Obviously the rebuilding is underway. This business is now for sale. Somebody please buy it up, and please don't tear down that beautiful building and turn it into something else, because that is an absolutely gorgeous building. There have been pretty severe economic impacts. Not every business has been able to continue or to reopen after the storm. They need more tourism out here. Simply put, if you want to help this region, then come on out. Buy something. Go enjoy yourself for a bit. It's actually going to be probably cheaper than most of the places that you could go to visit right now. See, look, the Riverside Lodge, right next to the Carter Lodge, is back open for business. I'm not going to make it all the way into Chimney Rock Village before my phone battery gives out. So I'm going to have to end this in a minute. I do want to show y'all these big, huge boulders here in the Rocky Broad River. Riverside Lodge at Chimney Rock, rooms on the river. But my goal here has been to show y'all what it actually looks like 20 months later, and to talk about how the rebuilding process has gone and who some of the heroes are. Not just to show y'all the bad, but also to show y'all the good. In the long run, it might even be more beautiful than it ever was. It's not going to be thanks to Helene. That's going to be thanks to the people and the efforts that have taken place. We don't have to sit here and thank the storm. Just thank the people who were involved. And thank y'all for watching.